Hello, welcome to the virtual workshop for the State Route 36 or Main Street Complete Streets Safe Mobility Report. My name is James Pangburn, Project Manager with Mark Thomas. Mark Thomas is a civil engineering and planning consultant working with the Lassen County Transportation Commission for this project. This virtual presentation has been prepared to summarize our efforts to date and direct you towards opportunities to comment on the recommendations presented. In this video, we will talk about why this report is being prepared, previous planning efforts for the Main Street corridor, recommended projects which will improve safety and mobility on Main Street, potential funding sources to implement these improvements, an action plan, and how you can provide input. State Route 36 acts as Main Street through the city of Susanville. Main Street is an auto-centric four-lane roadway which has remained largely unchanged since the 1970s. Over the past few years, multiple pedestrian fatalities have occurred in the corridor. This report is a first step in the process required to make improvements to the transportation infrastructure along Main Street, which will increase safety for all users, particularly pedestrians. The objective of this report is to provide City of Susanville staff with a list of recommended projects. The report also provides a framework for city staff to work in coordination with Caltrans to implement these projects. In addition to increasing safety, the recommended projects will increase the attractiveness of the corridor and thereby help encourage economic investment. Lastly, the report outlines potential grant funding sources which could pay for the recommended improvements. Over the years, other planning efforts to improve conditions on Main Street have been conducted. These include the Susanville Main Street Revitalization Plan, the Lassen County Bicycle Master Plan, the recently completed SR 36 Capital Improvement and Maintenance Project, which included repaving and upgrading curb ramps to ADA specifications, and considerations for restriping a short section of Main Street in Uptown, which was met with mixed opinions. Obtaining funding has been a significant challenge to completing improvements identified in these previous planning efforts. This report builds on ideas and recommendations from these previous planning efforts and includes new elements which will make the report more usable for the city of Susanville. The new elements included in this report are a detailed safety analysis conducted by traffic engineers. The analysis identified areas with high crash rates and recommended safety countermeasures or projects designed to decrease crash rates in the future. In an effort to make the project recommendations more implementable, this report divides the projects into segments based on what type of grant funding the project qualifies for. Finally, the recommendations in this report are designed to improve upon the CAP-M project recently constructed by Caltrans. Before and after photos are shown on the right side of this slide. Let's talk about the improvements recommended in the report. A variety of concepts have been proposed, including a gateway feature, pedestrian level street lighting, urban greening, pedestrian safety enhancements, concrete banding, sidewalk repair, transit stop upgrades, and uptown restriping. The following slides will look at each of these concepts more closely. This is an overview of all the recommended improvements. The report discusses improvements for three distinct districts along Main Street. Uptown, from Roop Street to Weatherlow, Midtown, from Weatherlow to Mesa, and the Gateway District, from Mesa to Riverside Drive. A gateway monument is a structure or sign which communicates the name of the city. A gateway monument creates a sense that the traveler has arrived at a destination. It also serves as a safety countermeasure, as drivers will typically reduce speed when they notice they are entering a populated area. A gateway monument is proposed near the Pine Street Plaza at Uptown Curve. The report recommends increased and enhanced street lighting to increase walkability in downtown Susanville. This includes light fixtures which are closer together and cast more light on crosswalks. Lighting fixtures and poles would be modernized and replaced with aesthetically enhanced fixtures that are less costly to maintain than the currently aging fixtures. Urban greening is public landscaping that creates mutually beneficial relationships between city dwellers and their environment. In Susanville, urban greening could include planting street trees or other landscaping and irrigation along Main Street. These features have been shown to provide traffic calming as vehicle speeds tend to reduce when the surrounding environment has been developed to a pedestrian scale. The Main Street corridor is very wide, which creates long crossings for pedestrians. Currently, there are no safety refuge areas for pedestrians once they leave the sidewalk and start crossing the street. The recently constructed bulb outs do not shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians. Therefore, raised pedestrian islands in the median of the roadway are recommended at McDowell, Sacramento, and Gilman Streets. This will allow pedestrians to cross the roadway more easily by pausing in the protected pedestrian island before proceeding to cross the rest of the roadway. Rectangular rapid flashing beacons, also known as RRFBs, are proposed at McDowell Street and Sacramento Street. These flashing yellow signals are warning beacons that pedestrians can activate by pressing the button. RRFBs are best suited for mid-block crossings and for crossings that are spaced far from a nearby traffic signal. Roughly 10% of the sidewalks along this corridor are distressed or have cracks. Sidewalk restoration and maintenance will improve travel and safety for pedestrians and disabled persons utilizing the corridor. Sidewalk rehabilitation is proposed as part of the recommendations. Lassen Rural Bus currently has 7 stops throughout the planned corridor, most of which lack a bench or shelter. Transit stops should offer shelters with benches, lighting, and be ADA accessible for the comfort and safety of riders. Enhanced transit stops, such as the ones shown in this graphic, are proposed along the Main Street corridor. One relatively inexpensive safety countermeasure is to restripe the short section of Main Street in Uptown between Rube Street and Weatherlow. Under this option, the number of travel lanes would be reduced from 4 to 2, and a continuous 2-way left turn lane would be provided in the center of the roadway. This would allow additional space for potential bike lanes or parking, as well as provide a number of safety benefits. Pedestrians would have fewer lanes of traffic to cross. Motorists would not speed up as the highway opens up from 1 lane to 2 after Town Hill. Pedestrians crossing at Rube Street can better anticipate the path of cars coming around the curve. And rear-end collisions would be reduced as there would be a separate lane for motorists to turn left. Who pays for these improvements? Local and regional agencies can apply for a variety of federal and state competitive grants or allocate recurring transportation funding sources. Improvements designed to reduce crashes and increase safety are eligible for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. Bicycle and pedestrian improvement projects are eligible for funding under the Active Transportation Program. The Community Design Block Grant is available to fund landscaping, irrigation, and enhanced paving at the corners. Urban Greening Grant funds projects that increase non-motorized access to community destinations concurrently with improving water quality and stormwater management, as well as the planting of shade trees. Recurring transportation funding for the state highway could also be allocated to the design and construction of sidewalks, bulb outs, crosswalks, pedestrian actuated crossings, bicycle facilities, pavement rehabilitations, landscaping, street trees, and traffic signals. Recommendations in this report have been segmented into phases. Each phase has a unique purpose and is intended to complete the corridor without rework. The phased projects have also been separated to best align with the requirements under the various available grant programs. The different segments include Uptown Gateway and Uptown Greening, Uptown Restriping, High School Crossing Safety, Midtown Safety and Sidewalk Repair, and 3 Midtown Pedestrian Enhancement segments. In total, All recommended improvements would cost in the order of $16 million. This is a large number, but the improvements can be implemented in segments over time. Many of the segments will cost less than $1 million each, making it more realistic to be funded either with state or federal grants. So what happens next? First, the Lassen County Transportation Commission, LCTC, who is the regional transportation planning agency for Lassen County, will adopt this report. The City of Susanville then has the option to include recommended projects into their capital improvement program. More detailed local roadway safety plans should be prepared so as to make projects more competitive for certain grant funding sources. In 2022, LCTC staff can then apply for grant funding for high priority project segments. Once grant funding is secured, more detailed engineering designs and plans will be prepared, and finally the project will go out to bid for construction. Now that you have a better understanding of the SR36, Main Street, Complete Streets and Safe Mobility Report, we encourage you to provide input through an online survey. Also, keep up to date on the project by visiting the website at the link shown below. Links to the survey and other related documents are available on the website. Thank you very much for listening.